Hello everyone, how are you all doing today? Good to see you all here. Hi Greg. Look at that. This always happens, doesn't it? No matter how much I think that I'm prepared, these comments always seem to come in a different size. I'm not quite sure why that happened, to be honest, because I thought I had not changed anything since last time, but there you go. That's one of these things about Ecamm. It often happens. Hi Greg, hope you're doing well. Hope you're fully recovered now from your epic ride. I know it was a week and a half ago, or 2 weeks, but it would certainly take me a while to recover from it. So, hi, Michael. Hi, Chris. Hope you had a good holiday. Where did you go, by the way? Go anywhere nice? Did you go out of the country at all, or I know UK is pretty much getting back to all things open now, isn't it? So, yeah. Hope you had a good time, whatever you were doing, anyway. Hi, Jeff. Good to see you again. And Matt. Great to see you here too. Oh, wrong comment. Hi, Matt. Hey, Paul. Ian. Oh, nice to see you. A new face. And hey, Steve. Good to see you here as well. So I just saw your comment, by the way, Steve, about the template pack. So yeah, great. I'm really glad you, or not template pack, is it? Is it the overlay template? So I'm glad you found that useful. And oh, another Michael. Hi, Michael in the UK. And yeah, Matt just mentioned it, Zoom at Marathon Man. So I've been in a week-long Zoom thing for my one of my other roles this week, and it's been absolutely exhausting but tremendously productive at the same time. So I'm absolutely exhausted. And I woke up late this morning. I woke up at 3:30 instead of 3 o'clock. So I have for the past sort of 5 weeks, in the next 5 weeks, I've got a sort of late night for me Zoom call at 8:30 till 9:30. I say that's late night. I know that some of you, Chris and Michael in the UK, it's probably a lot later than that for you now, but I'm normally a lot earlier to bed personally, so I normally go to bed at 8 o'clock. So these late night Zoom calls are sort of affect my schedule a little bit. So you might be able to tell I'm quite sleepy because my little boy was up in the night as well, so I had sort of 4.5, 5 hours sleep, but then I was woken up about 3 times during that as well. So probably won't be a long live stream this morning. But it's great to see you all here anyway. Greg, still recovering from the ride. Oh, recovered from the ride and still oh, of course, yeah, you've got your bodybuilding thing. So that's when's that coming up? That's not long now, is it? Stayed in the UK, visited for some friends in the UK. Well, it's always nice to have a break though, isn't it? Wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Oh, 11 o'clock, but we'll stay out to see me. Well, thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate it. I'll have to do something to make it worthwhile then. I'll have to make sure I give you some good information. So I'll start with do my usual update on where I've been with my videos. So let me get that up. Day 148. And last week I was basically 4 videos behind, as it were. And this week I've only put out 1 video, but I'm quite pleased because a lot of people found it useful. So it was the one with the overlay template grid to allow you to organize your scenes and stuff like that. So that was the only video I made on Wednesday. So officially I am 139 videos now on day 148. So I've still got some more catching up to do. But this week has been a really positive week for me actually, and it's Thanks, Greg. This week has been a really positive week for me, and it's actually, it's really just been really motivational, and I'll be getting a lot more stuff out over the next few weeks, specifically. So, I'm glad you found it useful as well, Jeff. Yeah, it's this new version of Ecamm Live that's coming, really. It's just a total game changer, and people can just make like entire scenes. I did a whole video about it, obviously, and that video about how you can just make all your scenes in Ecamm Live now. No need for graphical overlays and things like that. In the most part, there is still a place for them. But yeah, it's just a great feature. So I thought having that... Thanks, Chris. Having a template like that. I mean, I'm actually going to put that in as a feature request, to be honest, that sort of grid to have as a... they could have it in a bit like in Keynote or Photoshop or things like that. You've got a little toggle that you can show and hide the guides. Well, normally you obviously have to create your own guidelines and rulers and things like that. Sorry, just in case anybody is totally unaware what I'm talking about. I know that a lot of you have seen this, but I created this grid. Let me just do this, just in case anybody is unaware. So it's basically this... I've got to unlock my scene. Hang on. It's basically the grid that you can lay over your scenes. Let me just toggle this background image off. There we go, and get that one out of the way. So I made this grid that basically just you can show it in the background of your scenes, and then it just means that it makes it easy to lay out all of your different layouts, basically. So if I've got my two side by side like that, you can see how that's fitting into the grid. If I come over to my main shot, then I've got my two side by side, and it just means that you can just move these around and position them and resize them really quickly to get to get things exactly where you want them. So having something like that actually as a sort of built-in feature in Ecamm Live. Look at that. It's almost that's from last week. It's almost like I'm preempting who's going to come on, isn't it? That's that's name still up there from last week. So yeah, that was the sort of little template overlay I did, that little image. But having something like that in Ecamm as a sort of toggle on and off the guides, I think would be really useful given all of the functionality that they've now added into it. Let me get rid of that. I'll put my my main scene back up, get my camera back up. There we go. So I've lost my train of thought now. But yeah, that was something that I think would be good to go into Ecamm. And then where was I going to go then? I was going to tell you about something else, but I'm a little bit sleepy, to be honest with you. Make some cool sunglasses that just have the grid in it all the time. Yeah, that's good. It'd be like augmented reality, won't it? Augmented Ecamm reality, just looking at it and get them all right. Take that with the changes to Keynote. I'm not sure what changes to Keynote there are. Might be missing something there. I'm a bit slow this morning, so forgive me if I haven't quite understood that one. Don't forget the little Rodecaster Pro Devil. The little Devil Rodecaster Pro. Yeah, so Matt has got a Rodecaster Pro. I've talked for a while about how this is on my my sort of wish list, but I don't really need it, to be honest, because I've got my this is the sensible me talking, because I'm using my Shure MV7 just over USB into the computer, and this sounds all right, isn't it? It's not perfect, but it's working with. I think it's the talent that's flawed more than the equipment. But yeah, Matt's just got a Rodecaster Pro, so he's been sending me a few pictures of it, and I've got an empty space on my desk, but I definitely don't need one at the moment. Oh, sorry, of course, Jeff. They've added live video within Keynote. Yes, and then now we can bring that into Ecamm, of course. So yeah, thank you very much for that. So what I'll do is I'll just have a look at my stats, because there has been a bit of a sort of change in the figures that I've been getting. And obviously this thing is all about me just updating you on that. And as I've said every time, just for clarity, I don't care about the stats, but I do care about them. I don't lose sleep over them, but I'm really interested to see what makes a difference with YouTube and how this thing all works, basically. So I'll come into my little screen sharing thing for a moment, and I'll show you my YouTube dashboard. I haven't watched that yet, Jeff, by the way. I saw that she'd done a demo, but I haven't actually watched it. So yes, I did find out the other day, actually, because I've been doing I'm going to create a whole series of Zoom videos as well for people who are using Ecamm with Zoom. But then there's lots of features in Zoom that people just aren't aware of. But one of the things you can do in that is actually run slides sort of in the background as well. So you could actually run a keynote presentation in the background, but then have you over the top of it. Sort of similar to some of the things that we do with Ecamm, actually. So it was just an interesting little Zoom feature that I wasn't really aware of, to be honest with you. Not obviously you run them as a slideshow, but actually have you over the top of them. So I'll be making a little video about that one as well. But yeah, I'll have to watch Kat's video. She's great, she is. So yeah, this is the my little analytics page. Let me come to that one. So if I just go to the lifetime. So 2 weeks ago, I had a sudden little spike after one of the videos. It was the video about the latest beta release. And so that you can see just down here, that was basically 2 weeks ago. There was this little spike upwards. Can you see that all right? Let me make that a little bit bigger. There we go. And what's happened since then is there was a spike up, but then it never really went back down to where it started. And if I go to my watch time, you can see that's been a bit more erratic, but that's that peak of that particular video that just happened to do, get a large number of views. And then my subscribers had a peak then as well. Now, whilst the views have remained high, I have been since then also, because you're supposed to change one thing at a time. Well, I I changed lots of things all at the same time. Over the same weekend, I did that video. I changed the look and layout of my scenes and things like that. Not that I don't think would have made a huge difference to viewership. But then I also updated all of the descriptions on every video using the TubeBuddy bulk edit feature. I don't think that would have made a huge difference to the actual watch time or people finding it, because it was mainly kind of like the footer information at the bottom of the video rather than the actual anything that would have been searchable or anything like that. And I didn't update the tags either, so I don't think that would have had a huge effect on anything really. It was more just a case of encouraging people to connect and things like that. And there was some I'd still got my affiliate links and things like that in there, but then also some Amazon links and stuff like that. So just as an experiment to see what happens if you actually are more active about including that sort of information in in your video descriptions at the sort of bottom. But I did obviously also start my little shorts experiment, and I was putting out 3 shorts a day not this week, but the week before. So that is why I guess that the number of views remained high, because there was basically 4 times as much content going out. So even if people don't watch it all, then there's more to be found. But that also explains why, although the videos remained high, the actual watch time, because these are all obviously 1-minute videos, sort of dropped down during that week. But it has sort of spiked back up, and you can see that, if I get these little boxes out of the way, you can see that there is a sort of like, if I was to draw a little trend line on there, it's too early to say, but there is more of a sort of upward trend, and I've had a few other days of spiked figures. It's getting annoying, this one that just keeps coming over the top. By the way, I don't know if you're aware, when you're looking through your YouTube stats like this, you get these little boxes at the bottom, and that basically tells you what videos you've released at that point. So you can see, like up to here, it will tell you the videos that were released around that time as we go back over these dates, and you can see basically how many have come out in the run up to that. Sorry, I just got distracted by a comment then. I'll come back to that comment, Jeff. So yeah, you can see what videos were the ones that actually caused the spike, really. And then subscribers, I've basically since last week I've increased by 50 subscribers. Now that's the biggest jump that I've had in any single week. I think it always used to be sort of like 20 or something like that, 20 to 30. So there's definitely been, it seems that the videos are being found more or discovered more, I guess, because there is this sort of like uptick in the number of subscribers as well. So that is partly to let me have a look down here. I can see. Let me have a little look down here. There's somewhere. I'll come on to this in a minute, because there is a place to where I can see like how many have been served by search and stuff. But I'll just come on to a couple of points here. So first of all, Jeff, do you do parallels with Zoom? Need it for a PC only photo club competition judging program which uses 2 monitors. I don't use parallels with Zoom actually. I've never tried that. I have used parallels before, but I don't do that. So the question is, can you use it where you've got a second monitor that's running parallels and share that? Is that the question? If so, that's a good question. I suppose it could do. If that is the question. If you mean running it on a Mac and you've got parallels running, but you want to share something on the other screen, I'm not sure. The parallels has got that thing. Is it called continuity mode or something like that, where it appears that your apps are running in the Mac almost, so that you can have them on your usual regular desktop. So if that is the question, which I'm just guessing, then yeah, you probably could do it like that, but I've not tried it. But let me know if that's the question, and we'll try and figure it out. So, Chris, if I'm honest, I prefer your longer videos. Shorts are, well, too short. You know what? All the shorts that I made were originally for TikTok. So the idea was that I was going to post them to TikTok in order to basically grow the YouTube audience by posting on TikTok to attract YouTube viewers from TikTok, which is why all of the videos that have gone out so far, because I'm just repurposing those videos, at the end of it, you'll see them say, I'll say, check out my YouTube channel. Well, obviously you're on the YouTube channel. Now, my thing with it, originally I was thinking about creating a completely separate YouTube Shorts channel where I was just going to have the shorts, and then it would be, it would basically prompt people to go over to my my main YouTube channel. And then I watched a thing with Doc Rock and Keely Dunn on one of Doc's streams, where she made the point of, why would you have a separate channel for shorts where you are then making it difficult, in fact, for people to find your main content, because you've actually got, you're adding friction to it basically for them to find your main content. So I thought, right, well, that needs to that's a very good point, isn't it? You know, if you create a separate channel, then there's just like extra friction involved for people to find it. So I thought, right, well, okay, I'll do it on my main channel. So then I started posting, not last week, but the week before, I started posting 3 a day, because I'd watched a D Nimin or Nick Nimin, I can't remember, one of the brothers. I think it was Nick actually, and he'd said, you know, aim for 3 to 5 a day. So I picked 3. Because 3 is less than 5, and I didn't want to be committing to having to create all of this content when I'm already doing obviously my 1 a day challenge and my long form stuff. So I thought, right, well, okay, I'll aim for 3 a day, and I'd got this backlog of or this catalog rather of my TikTok videos, so that would give me a sort of head start of it. So I started posting 3 a day, but in the back of my mind, I was always thinking, is this not just going to come across as like basically spamming the timelines or the YouTube feeds of people who watch my stuff and who watch the longer form stuff as well, because that's obviously what I tend to do, it's tutorials and stuff like that. So I was always a bit conscious about that, to be honest. And then I kind of like had this sudden thought after being doing this for a week at the end of last week, which was, not only is it just going to appear in people's timelines and they'll be like, oh, not this guy again, but also if people have got their notifications turned on, which I obviously encourage people to do, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you get notified whenever I make a new video. Well, suddenly then there would be 3 shorts a day and also 1 long form video a day, average in theory. So that's 4 times a day that people are getting their little notifications saying that I've posted a new video. It's too much, really, for me to think about that. And then after my live stream last week, somebody who I respect a tremendous amount, Miss Eileen, commented and said, or messaged me actually, and just said like, oh, I'm just wondering, why you chose 3 a day. And I said the same thing about, Nick recommending it. And then I said, oh, I was just wondering if it was going to be a bit too much. And she kind of just subtly gave me the impression that might be what she was thinking as well. So if Eileen thinks that, then that's good enough for me. So that's why I toned it down last week to just one a day, basically. So that's where we're at the moment. 1 short a day and also one long form video a day. And I'm going to see how that goes and just keep that going for, a month or 2 to just judge actually what effect it has on it. But I do think that it has had an impact, and that there is more discoverability coming from it, because it is a different sort of source as well. There's a really interesting thing, actually. In fact, if I come into my my demographics, yeah, I think that is a surefire way for me to have people turning off their notifications. Thanks, Greg, for the feedback. Appreciate it. Chris is saying you can use NDI to share Windows screens on Ecamm. Rightio, good stuff. Now, yeah. So Jeff, the shorts are in fact very useful little snippets. The shorts that I've got were kind of like, they were all actually a compression of a video a longer form video that I had done on YouTube. Now they're all out of sync with those because these were made for TikTok like a couple of months ago or whatever. But my idea with them was I'd made a long video, and then this would be like a little short condensed version of it. And then I was sending people back to that video from TikTok. But what I'd thought was, actually, when I start making, creating new shorts, starting today actually, is make them more, rather than trying to cram a long form video into a short form video. I thought that a good use case for it would actually be just really useful short little tips of 15 seconds to a minute, something like that. They do say that YouTube actually recommends that short should be 15 seconds. They allow you to do up to a minute, but they're recommending 15 seconds. So if that's what YouTube are recommending, it'll be really interesting to play around, and I'll test some different lengths like 15, 30, 45 in a minute, and just do a month of trying all those different lengths, and then we'll see at the end of the month which ones have got the which ones do actually get the most views, but also get served the most as well, because YouTube are obviously going to make some decisions about what they're serving there as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see that. Like I say, it's all just an experiment for me, this is. So we'll see how it goes, and it doesn't matter either way, as long as I don't offend anybody or make people annoyed. That's my then I'm happy. So we'll see how it goes. But if I come into my channel analytics for a moment, whoops, wrong button. I'm on the wrong page of my Stream Deck. There we go. There was one thing that just was a little bit funny for me. Where is it? It's in the audience demographics. Am I in the right place here? Engagement, is it? Let me have a little look. Might be in the wrong place here. Hang on. I am looking for it is in the audience, I think. I'm looking for the age of viewers. Here we go. If I go and have a look at September, there is 2.6% 18 to 24 year olds. But if I come in October, there's 12.3% 18 to 24 year olds. Isn't it funny that October is when I've started creating shorts? There is this massive jump in the number of young people watching my content. It's just funny that to me that there's been that distinct gap, because not that I'm particularly aiming for that audience or anything like that. I'm not aiming for any audience in particular, just whoever finds it useful. But it was just really interesting that, you know, it's like indicative of the way people consume content. Speaking of which, hey Sammy, one of my younger viewers, I hope you're doing well today. But yeah, it's just really interesting that there has been that difference compared to the regular videos. The other thing that I noticed was, now I don't know if this is linked to that as well. Look at this. September, audience, male 98.3, female 1.7. And then if we come to October, 6.4. Hello, ladies. So I don't know what that is from. If that's from the related to the form of the content or not. But anyway, that's it. We do like the old long form way of doing things, but it's just interesting to observe these things from my point of view. So there was another thing that I noticed as a result of these videos. Oh, let me come to the actual sources of traffic. So that was from engagement. Hang on, it wasn't from here. Engagement. I'm looking in the wrong place. My head is still not with it, to be honest. I haven't fully woken up. There's one where, in fact, I'll tell you where it was, is if you come into advanced mode, you can get a little bit more information. This might be where it was. So traffic source. And then if I change this to be for lifetime. So traffic source, you can see there's two here. That I'm looking at specifically. There's the browse features, which is people browsing on in YouTube, but also YouTube search. Now, what I can see here is my YouTube search, which is the green line, is sort of moving along fairly steadily. But then there is this sort of like uptick in it here. So I'm guessing that I'm getting more views from people searching and things like that, which, I mean, it sort of makes sense anyway, because if you're building up a back catalogue, then there's more things for people to find you for. But there is a sort of distinct sort of change in that pattern just around here. That it does seem to be that I'm getting served more in search results and things like that. So yeah, I'm going to stick my link up just now in case anybody would like to jump on and join me. There we go. I'll stick that up, my usual link. I've adjusted that lower third, by the way, Michael, in Wrinkle City, so that hopefully it doesn't get covered by that little subscribe overlay button. But there we go. There was something else I was going to talk about related to these stats, though. Now, what was it? I'm forgetting now in my my early morning tired state this morning. There was definitely something else. Let me have a little look. I know what I was going to mention. It was specifically about the shorts and the number of views on them. So if I come back to my main stats, you can see here the sort of views that I get for my level of subscribers. So I've got 500 and whatever it is now, that's pretty low. That is. So the other thing I did was I changed all of my thumbnails. So anything that's a short now is red. So it makes it stand out in people's timeline. They can see more clearly which it is. So if you're not interested in shorts, then you can just see clearly which ones they are in your timeline. The yellow ones will always be my longer form stuff, and then the red are the shorts. I might do the same with live streams actually, because some people prefer just a specific thing on topic rather than a long live stream that might cover lots of different things. Or it's just a different kind of video really. Let me have a little look. What's Jeff saying here? One thing noted, the red bar showing the percentage of a video watch sometimes just stops and doesn't catch up even when... I've noticed that actually. Yes, I have noticed that myself as well, Jeff. The shorts match your attention span. Yeah, I mean, there is a place for shorts, to be honest. Like... Obviously, there's a lot of people who just make really ridiculous things that are just, I suppose, like the equivalent of clickbait, on the shorts. If you see them, they're just, just a little bit nonsense, really. But if I make stuff that's just concise and, quick tips sort of thing, then hopefully they'll become part of, the content that people actually want, rather than the first lot of videos, which were more intended to funnel people through to my main page. So I've got to just make it that it's all as relevant and useful in a short form, where if someone's got a minute or two, they can just watch one of them. But anyway, so these figures here, one thing I've noticed is, and I have to play around with this and look at whether this is due to time and things like this, but you can see that like that one Stream Deck new features, so that's had 467 views. That's like, I would consider at the moment like a high number. Usually the average is around about, if I go something that's not a short, then around about like the hundreds, 70s, 150, something in that range is what I usually get on my stuff. So that's like a lower one, 71. But then these are like 140. Obviously, the longer you go back, the more the numbers sort of creep up. But in general, within like the first sort of week or two, then that's what I tend to expect, 70 to 150, something like that. But if we look at these shorts then, so you can clearly see which ones they are. They're all these red ones. Some of these have done better than others, and there's no real reason why some should have done better than others, because like these 5 here, this is all a series. Now all of the tags, all of the descriptions and everything like that are all exactly the same. The only thing that's different is the thumbnails, you can see, are identical as well. The only thing that's different is this one says number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 and number 5. But if you look at the number of views, then we've got 299, 242, 127, 37 and this one 57. So they're all, quite random. Part of that will be the time that they've been served, so been put out. So these were at the time when I was doing 3 a day, so basically 8 hours apart. So some times of day may have been better than others. Same with this one. We've got these green screen or Stream Deck tips as well. Those are a bit hit and miss, but what you can see is the numbers on them, on some of them, the ones that do better, are all actually higher than I would normally get. So it does seem that the shorts do can get a bit more traction, or they maybe get served. Perhaps it's just a lack of sort of, I don't use the word competition, but like other videos in this space. Maybe people aren't making these sorts of shorts, and so the people who do see them, that want them, watch them more. I don't know. It's all just speculation at the moment. But it is, like I say, it's still a bit hit and miss with those. So like this one's only 22. So who knows really. I did notice with TikTok that was very, very random. And some of those, I put them up and within, an hour, I'd got, 1,500 views or something like that. Whereas other ones have been up, and in the whole time that they've been there, I've had like 7. So it's really sort of hit and miss with those. So I'm not really too sure. But I will be making more of the shorts, and then I'm going to start putting those onto TikTok as well again. And then I've really got to start looking at things like Instagram and stuff like that as well. We'll see how that goes. I'm interested in Twitter for video as well. So I've started streaming this. So I stream to, I know everyone here, I think, is on YouTube, just looking at my little icons. I think everybody's on YouTube, but I do stream it to Twitch as well. I'm not doing anything to actually grow my audience on Twitch. It feels like I'm just streaming it there because I can, through Restream, which I don't know is a good idea or not. I do get people go back and watch those sort of after the fact. But then I'm also streaming to YouTube and Facebook, obviously. And I do sometimes every week, there'll be some people watch on Facebook. And after the fact, people go and watch it there as well. But I'm also now, for this week and last week, streaming to Twitter as well. So we'll see how that goes. I've not done much with that. But I do want to sort of think about perhaps doing sort of different content to these different platforms. And YouTube always being the primary one. But then maybe there's a place for some other sort of content going to other locations. So not really sure about that. It's still all just an experiment. But speaking of Twitter, I have still been doing my Tweet 100 little challenge to basically keep me active on Twitter and not just be pumping out things automatically and cross posting stuff. So just being a little bit more conscious on that. And I don't want it to become overwhelming. It can too easily sort of suck you in all these different platforms. So I am very conscious about the time I spend on it. But it's been good just sort of getting back into that, because I've not been on Twitter for since 2008 or something like that. So just interesting to see what we see here. I've seen Matt there obviously quite a lot. I say obviously, it's obvious to Matt, but my new Twitter buddy. So that is basically the sort of summary of what I have managed to deduce from my my last week. Like I said, I've not had a huge amount of time to think about it or consider doing things differently, but I will be now spending this weekend creating a whole series of videos for the coming week on my shorts, and then also I'm going to start pre-recording some of my my content rather than just doing one a day, because I've got a few things. I know, Chris, I see you there as well. Yes, sorry, I do notice you on Twitter as well. That's what I've been up to this week. The other thing, which I think I can say this. I've just been added as a moderator in the Ecam Live group, so I'm really pleased about that. Nothing's going to change as such. It's just that I'm now officially a moderator. So I've always loved being in the Ecam group and helping people out, and helping them get to basically get more out of the software and use it. And so things like the overlay templates and stuff like that. It's just nice to help people with what they're trying to achieve with Ecamm. So it's just very nice to be a part of the team officially now. So I'm really pleased about that. Matt says, oh no, I've got this in the wrong place now, haven't I? Hang on a minute, let me grab that, put it up there. Twitter can attract a new audience. Yeah, it can. It's just one of those things that you've got to grow. I can indeed, yes. I've got some questions for you, Paul, because I want to learn from the master, and Paul is the master moderator. So Twitter can obviously attract a new audience, and it is true, all of these platforms can attract a new audience, but it's just another platform that you have to put the time in to grow your audience on that platform. So it's a balancing act, isn't it? I mean, we had my first time ever being on a Twitter space was your Twitter space, Matt, talking about basically Twitter burnout. So I definitely don't want that to happen. But yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it, really? How much time do you devote to these things? And if you take on all of these platforms like that, I mean, I've mentioned Twitch. So I had Twitch, and I did have an idea when I started this channel that I was going to start doing some separate content onto there and try and grow an audience there. But it's just too many places that you could potentially be. So yeah, we'll have to see. I'm just going to put a little bit of time into Twitter and, start to be a bit more conscious about what I'm putting. And I am getting a few more sort of followers on there, compared to when I was just literally automating cross posts of videos and things like that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that, and I'm glad you like them and find them useful. I don't know about that. I would not dare say that for a moment. Adrian's awesome. I really like Adrian. He does an awesome job. So I'll take that comment down. Oh, thank you, Matt. Oh, well, thank you very much. Yeah, with the Twitter stuff, I'm kind of like not too sure exactly of the sort of things that I'm posting on there. They're a combination of things, really. It's I think it's good if you've got a specific I was going to say specific voice, but like a specific use case for things like this. And mine's it feels to me at least a little bit haphazard at the moment in terms of what I'm posting. And with the Tweet 100, some of it is like I'm actually having to think about something as opposed to just like, oh, that's it. When I was using Twitter before, I had a very clear use case for it, 12 years ago, whatever it was. It was actually longer than that, wasn't it? It was 13 years ago. And I had a very clear thing that I was using it for. And so I'd just be, I always just knew that this is what I'm going to be posting there. Whereas I'm still sort of figuring out how to actually use it effectively with what I'm doing on the channel. And so it is, it's more about member requests. It would be great if you could share more about your routine. Is that on Twitter or just in general here? Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that, and I'm glad you find it useful. And by the way, I hope you've downloaded that template. If you haven't, let me know, and I'll ping you a copy over because I know with what you're planning to do, and with the new beta to you in the UK. We can now just make all of our scenes. So I was definitely thinking about you when I was making that template, because I know that it'll help with creating all of your scenes. So if that's if you want to know my routine, I'll just run you through my routine. My routine is quite simple. I wake up at 3. I do my morning meditation. I've got my little journal here that I write in every day about what I've done, and then also for shorts. You mean my morning routine for shorts? Right, I'll just finish it anyway, just quickly, and then I sort of plan out my day, what I'm going to do, and that takes me up till 4:00. I have my 2 cups of coffee, and then I have my 3rd and 4th cup of coffee waiting, and then so 4 till 6 is when I make my videos. I'm actually going to make a video of actually the whole process from start to finish of so it'll be like I'll record the whole thing, but then part of the middle I'll just extract, which will be an actual video that I've made. So it'll show you like what I do and how I've sort of planned things, because there isn't really a lot of planning, but I do have a process that I go through in terms of looking at my video list, picking out which one I'm going to do, and then sort of thinking about it and arranging my screen to be, if I'm using a particular app or something like that, then I'll have those things put those things in the right place, then record the video. Then after the video, I've got another set of actions that I do, and I have like a keyboard maestro, I was just laughing at Rich's comment. Hi, Rich. And then, hi, Terry. Oh, hi, Sue as well. All right, let me just say a few hellos. Hi, Rich. Looking forward to the shower shots. I'm not quite sure what there's a reference to, actually. Let me think. No, I still haven't got that one. I'll have to have a little think. It's great to see you here, Sue. Really, really pleased you found it useful. And Terry as well. I'm really pleased that you're enjoying what I've been creating, and it's been useful. And by the way, anybody, if ever there's anything that hasn't been covered, I see. Sorry, I'm really slow today. You might have missed it, Rich, but I'm a bit tired today. I went to bed quite late last night. For me, 11 o'clock. So I normally go to bed at 8, and I didn't have much sleep. So I shower once a month on the first of the month, and I find that I'm good with that. So there you go. So then I'm going to make this video that's basically the whole process of actually doing it, where I show you the different routines and actions that I've got as part of the process. So I have a Keyboard Maestro action, and then this is linked to a Stream Deck button. So one button will basically open everything and put all the windows in the right place, and then I have another one when I've finished that closes everything down that needs to be closed down. But then it also opens up like all the windows that I need. So my file that I do make my thumbnails in, I've got another one that opens up with YouTube Studio. Then I've got another one that opens up the folders in Finder, where I have the recording of Ecamm Live, but then also it opens the folder where my thumbnail gets saved. So just with the press of a button, that's that sort of gets all done really. The actual thumbnails themselves, I've just got a template, which is basically a load of cheesy pictures of me and then the text, and I just edit them in there and then save them as a PNG file. And then that takes me sort of 5-10 minutes, something like that. So that's in terms of my process of making the videos is like that. And then after that, 6 o'clock, my little boy is the first one to wake up normally, Dale, and then the girls are usually a little bit more lazy than him, so I get up a little bit later. Speaking of Dale, my son's called Dale, and I've just noticed D7 Dale. Sorry I'm late to the party. No problem. Is your name Dale, or is that a reference to something else? That'd be interesting. Thanks, Rich. Yeah, that's why I'm banished to the basement. Let me out, and they let me out once a month to shower. So, how to make coffee with Ecamm Live? Well, I tell you what, if you want to know how to make coffee, you're asking the wrong man. You need to go to Keith Pelzer. He is the coffee master. His siphon coffees. There's a few videos from him on on Ecamm Live. Oh, hi, Collie. Nice to see you. And do I make my thumbnails in Canva? I don't actually. I make them in Photoshop, which is probably not the best place to do it, although it's just what I've got the muscle memory, so I know how to use that. So that's what I do them in. In fact, I could probably just quickly show you if I open Photoshop. Let me have a little look. Yeah, Jeff, more information on the way in windows are organized beforehand. It's one of my videos. I'd meant to make this last week actually, but or the week before last, but then yeah, just didn't get around to it. More detail on the way windows are organized beforehand would be useful. How can I get 3 windows outline red borders I'm just having to reread this. I'm very sorry. Hi, Jim. I'll just say a quick hello. Good to see you here. Welcome to the club, Jim. I've been on Zoom all week, so yeah, it's good to get out. I don't know who you're on a Zoom call with, but it always astounds me the image quality that people have on their Zoom calls. So I've been in a meeting all week with some business leaders, shall we say, and their picture quality was atrocious. And I just think, why do people not put a little bit more effort into their picture quality? I'm still not getting this comment though, Jeff. More detail on the way windows are organized beforehand would be useful. So yeah, I'll make a video all about that, because I use Moom to organize the windows, and then you can assign keyboard shortcuts so I can get everything the way I want it. And then I've got keyboard shortcuts for when I'm using Ecamm Live for recording, different one for when it's streaming, or different ones for when I'm using Ecamm with Zoom and things like that. So I'll definitely be making a video about that. I'm not quite sure about this last part though. How can I get 3 windows outline red borders showing up on monitor 1? Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that. I'm not too sure. So I'll just quickly show you though my my Photoshop. Yeah, it amazes me because people will say your video looks so good compared to everybody else, and like to me on Zoom calls and things like that. And you definitely have more it's almost like you have more authority in a meeting if you have a better picture quality and sound quality somehow, because you just can be seen and heard a lot better, and it's not a strain to listen. I mean, it might be a strain to listen to my bald-headed whining voice, I don't know, but there's when you're having to work mentally to get over somebody's poor image quality or poor audio quality, or can't hear what they're saying, or there's loads of background. I mean, yesterday there was somebody where they'd just got this really loud background noise of some fan or something like that was like literally drowning them out, so they literally couldn't be heard properly. So you get distracted from what they're saying. So so on the one hand, people comment and can kind of see conceptually that it is better to have better image and audio quality, and yet at the same time that it still goes on, and they still don't make an effort necessarily to just upgrade anything about their system. So I don't know. It's I suppose it's a lack of knowledge really that causes it. So there you go. Oh, that is, yes, yeah. The camera on the desk looking up at them is that's always a good one. The other one is the green screen as well. While we're complaining about people on Zoom meetings, where people use green screen, but they'll have like the tropical beach background behind them. It's a novelty, and it is novel, isn't it? The very first time I remember being able to toggle a green screen on and say, "Oh look, I've got a beach behind me," but in a day-to-day sort of meeting scenario, it's not entirely appropriate, is it? And it's also not when they've got they're not actually using an actual green screen, but it's kind of like that virtual green screen effect where they're just sort of basically cropping out the room background. So they've got the beach video background playing behind them, but then also it's sort of cropping off half of their face that's disappeared as well for some reason, and then it's also showing part of the background of their room in the shot as well. It's just it'd be better to just turn it off and just do the blurred background effect in Zoom. So that always makes me laugh as well. Hi Hassan. I am using Ecamm also to pin messages. So I'm using Ecamm. So to bring the messages in, I'm using Ecamm. So I'm streaming through restream.io to YouTube, to Facebook, to Twitch, and to Twitter, and then all of the comments get aggregated in Ecamm Live. So there's a comments and reactions panel. In fact, since you asked, let me just quickly show you, because we could do this with Ecamm. So here you go. I've got this little window here that's basically all of the comments that are coming in, and this shows me in the little corner. I can see whether it's a Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook or whatever. Now I've also actually got the YouTube chat popped out, because most people in here are in YouTube. Most people watching this are watching live at the moment on YouTube. I do get people going back and watching on other things, but I've also got the YouTube chat popped out, because if you're using Ecamm Live, then this little chat box here, if you're only streaming to one location like YouTube or Twitter or whatever, then there is actually a chat box at the bottom that you can interact and you can chat back into it. But because I'm coming through Restream, you don't have that one, because where would it send the chat? Would it put my message into all of them, or just one, or just the other? So what I've done is I've also popped out the just only the YouTube chat, because as I say, most people are watching live on YouTube. So I've just got the YouTube chat popped out from the browser in Chrome. So that means that if I want to put a link or something in that, like that in there, then I can just type in there and it will just pop into the chat. But yeah, I am using Ecamm Live, and it is a green screen, yes. So just to prove it, there we go. That's my actual background. Yeah. So actually it's on it's a 43-inch Philips. So that's my screen, by the way. 43-inch Philips that I'm is my monitor. So I've never really been one for the ultra widescreen monitors, because I mean, technically this is kind of like two widescreen stacked on top of each other, but I've always had this is basically like, I suppose, maybe four like 21.5-inch monitors that are just in a sort of 2x2 grid pattern, and I just find it's a lot better this way than an ultra wide screen. And what it allows me to do, actually, since we're talking about this, is that if I come into this, I should probably have some different apps open, but like if I'm working on a document, for example, then I could have, like, let's say that this was a Word document. I could have a Word document open here, but then I might have like this one up here, I've got various different layouts for this, and Moom helps me do all of that. But I could have like that. You know, you can have this big long central panel, but then also I do stuff with a lot of data stuff. So one of the companies that I'm involved in is like basically we do trading. So I do a lot of stuff with spreadsheets and data analysis. So I have like Excel spreadsheets that will easily run all the way to the end like this. So I can have like data down here, but then have different, maybe I'm doing some research or something like that. And so I've got a window up here, or it just gives me a lot more versatility, I find, to have a regular aspect ratio monitor, but that's just massive. So that's why I use this one. In fact, while I've got this up though, I will just show you, I mentioned about my thumbnails to Chris and how I make these. So this is basically my Photoshop thumbnail. Sorry to put my big face on the screen there. But basically, I've just got a whole series of different images down the side, and I can just toggle those on and off. That one I haven't actually edited, but there we go. I've got different ones like pointing to the side. I've labeled them as well. So I've got like either pointing to the side, straight ahead, and all these sorts of things. So they're basically different pictures. And I just toggle them out, and then I just go in here and change the my title. There we go, if I can spell. So that's as quick as it takes me to actually make a thumbnail. I just go and edit the text in here. I've got a series of images of products and things like that. So if I come down here, like my face cam, various different products, so I can just click those on and add them in. So those are all things that I've done videos about before. And that's sort of my process for creating my thumbnails. So that's how I do that, Chris. Oh, hey, Obs, I've just noticed. Sorry, I've not been looking at the comments. Nice to see you. Nice to see you here. Now, where's my interview window gone? Hang on a second. It's somewhere. I heard the little bing bong, but I can't find. It's because I've moved all my windows around. That's the issue. Hang on a minute. I'll find it in a moment. It's somewhere hiding. My little interview window to answer has just disappeared. Hang on a minute. I think it might be. Is it up there? Ah, I got it. Let me come here 1 second. I shall add Paul in to guest number 1. Whoops. And here, whoops, I've got to change this now. Bear with me 1 moment, Paul. Hang on. Let me come to this for a moment. We'll get there in a moment, Paul. Why is that not letting me change that? Hang on a second. There's something going on here. I tell you what, I'll just come into here for a moment instead. Good to see you, Paul. How are you doing?
Hello. Good.
You're sounding very good on your new mic.
Yes. I thought I would crash your stream.
Well, you're always welcome. How's everything going for you this week?
Not bad.
Yes. Have you been watching the people with video stuff? I've not actually watched any of that.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Hang on. I've got too many sounds of you coming through my head.
Oh, okay. Got to toggle off some of the browser sound or something. Oh, I can't hear you now, I think. Can I hear you? No, I can't hear you at the moment. It says that guest has muted themselves, so it might be muted in the browser, perhaps.
Here, is that better?
It is better, yeah. Is your sound all right? Can you hear me, or is it? Are you still getting duplicate?
I have the original version of you playing, and so it's
right.
massively delayed.
Right.
No, I'm doing good. Yeah, I've been watching the people of video stuff and kind of keeping an eye on things over there, having fun.
Making sure they're all doing what they should be.
And then I had to welcome you to the mass of moderators.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And you're the master that I hope to learn from. So, yeah. No, you're always amazing, to be honest, in keeping people in check, and like especially through the leap into live as well. It was you're doing amazing
I
work.
try.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first time I've jumped on a stream with anybody. So you're my debut.
Oh well, that's I'm honoured. I'm absolutely honoured. Yeah.
But I think been playing with the lighting, and I've got my new mic and the Rodecaster and everything. So I've just been checking to see how.
Oh, it sounds
tinkering
great.
around and seeing how things are working.
Yeah, it sounds really good. I like your lights in the background that you've got as well.
Thanks.
Yeah, they look really good.
I had to do something with a white wall.
Right.
I live in a very small apartment, so it's kind of fun trying to fit a shoehorn in a box.
Yeah. It's funny though on video, like how things can. Like I always think about Doc's room. It looks a lot bigger than it actually is, and then he'll turn around and just almost reach back to the computer behind him. But yeah, it's quite funny the way it works like that. I mean, I'm literally I can touch the back wall where I am, so I'm in quite a small.
I'm pretty close to that too. Yeah, my bed is right behind me, so it's like
right.
I did have a question for you.
Okay,
I got one of the T3 teleprompters.
Yes, yeah.
And I have a ZV-E10 camera.
Yeah.
And there isn't a mount that fits the ZV-E10. So
right.
That's interesting. Like a 40.5 or something like that lens.
Right.
And so I'm like going, what do I do?
Yeah. Is that the kit lens, or is it a that
yes.
you've got?
Yes.
Yeah, because that's exactly the next camera that I was thinking of buying. So it's an interesting conversation. This is. I'm not sure if you can get. Is there any place to actually put like an adapter ring on it? Like is there? Mm-hmm. Do they have like a filter? A place to screw the filter? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering then if there is an adapter ring that you can get that will upsize that, or to be a different one. Because I know obviously if people buy filters and things like that, presumably they might have a collection of filters that they want to use on a different camera or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but I thought, well, I'd ask you and see if you had. But I got it, and I was like, this doesn't work. Right.
Yeah, well, I'm using my old 10-year-old Canon EOS 60D still. So yeah, but the ZV-E10 is sort of the one that I would go to when I do upgrade my camera. So I'm thinking that there must be, but it was something that was in my mind because I didn't even know if it had any ring on it at all, or whether it'd be just because it's a zoom as well, isn't it? That the kit lens, I think.
Yeah, and it's like the ZV-1 doesn't have it. You have to get that that wide angle adapter in order to make it work. Right. This one, I had it and I thought, okay, I'm going to put it all together now, and it was like, so I'm using my old little iPad, an old one that I had as kind of my little camera view screen.
Yeah. Let's have a quick look at camera filter adapter ring. So there is a whole series of adapter rings for changing the sizes. So I think it would just be a case of getting the right size. So there is actually. So what size was it on the ZV-E10?
I think it's hang on. I have to look it up. It looks like it says 4D.5.
40.5.
And I think that's a 40.5 or 45.5. I think it's 45.5.
So there are definitely, if I come to one of these, look, this one. I'm probably sharing the wrong portion of my screen. But there you go. There is adapter ring sets. So obviously you wouldn't necessarily want the whole set, but presumably you can get the one that would adapt it up to a different size.
Okay.
I'm not seeing that exact size, but yeah. So I just did a search for camera filter ring adapter set. filtering adapter sets. Yeah.
Yeah, that was going to be my next round, is like looking for maybe an adapter ring or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there will be, because it's I'm sure we're not the first one to have the issue.
Yeah.
And like people buy, they have like filters and things like that, don't they, that they're going to want to use on different cameras. So I've never actually got into photography. I bought this camera 10 years ago, just before the birth of our first daughter, thinking that I was going to, it totally seems like it should be something that's, up my street in terms of a bit of technology. There's lots to learn about it. It's a gadget, it's the ultimate gadget almost. But then I don't think I've taken, more than, I want to say 20 pictures, not in auto mode, in all that time. And then when, camera phones and stuff came about that had much better cameras, then, I would be reaching for that rather than, a DSLR camera. So it's been good to be able to repurpose it for this stuff over the past year or two.
Yeah, my problem recently is I've added so many different things that I haven't had a chance to read all the instruction books. So Doc would put me in the corner and tell me to go read, but so I'm slowly working through that.
Yeah, well, I'm on for that. I tend to just dig straight in and try and figure everything out, try all the buttons, and that's usually my approach. But and so, how are you finding the ZV-E10 though? Have you been using it?
I actually like it. Mm-hmm. I haven't had it. I got one, and it was supposed to be new, and it ended up being an open box, and a bunch of the stuff that was supposed to come with it wasn't in the box.
Right.
They sent me a new one, so now I finally have one. So I've only had it for a few days that I've been playing around with, but I actually like it. It's really nice.
Yeah.
I just now I'm going to go out and take pictures around the town.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to figure it out, watching videos and reading stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's it certainly looks a lot more portable than this one that I'm using.
Yeah.
Looks nice size.
Nice and light.
Yeah. Tom Buck can probably make you one with his 3D printer, a filter adapter. That is a good point. I'm sure you probably could do that, actually. Yeah. Chris is asking for a link to my monitor. Do you know what? I meant to make a video, or I was planning on making a video about this monitor, but it isn't available. I don't think it's available in the US, and it's also not available in the in Europe, I think. I'll show you which monitor it is, though, Chris, just since you were asking. Come to this one. So here it is. It's a Philips. What's the model number? 438P1 is the model number of it, and it's rather than, I know a lot of people use TVs for monitors, but I didn't want to use a TV because they're not technically designed for that. They've got different refresh rates and things like that. Whereas this is actually it's intended to be a monitor rather than a TV. So it's got a couple of DisplayPort inputs and then also HDMI as well. But it's more of a monitor as opposed to TV. But I just like the aspect ratio of it. It is just a regular aspect ratio screen that is 4K. So it's kind of like for HD monitors in 2x2 layout. So yeah, it's pretty large. But I have it on a rolling TV stand as well. So rather than it being sitting on the desk, because I'd be worried about a screen that size just sitting on its little legs. So I've got it mounted onto one of those rolling TV stands. So it means that I can actually move it around, because for some of the videos I do use them in different formats. So sometimes I'll be doing a video standing up, not for this channel obviously, but for those it just means I can just wheel the whole thing around and then do a video in a different format or move it out of the way. It's also good for cleaning as well. Just move it out of the way and then sweep up underneath it. So that's that. I'll drop a link actually to that in the chat if you want, Chris. If you want to have a little look. There we go.
Yeah, my luck is that it would knock it off my desk. If it was...
That'd be the first thing I'd do. I'm very careful and yet notoriously clumsy.
It jumped out there.
Yeah. So Michael in the UK saying step down rings seen 92 millimeter. What was your size again? So yeah, there is rings available.
What is going on?
what is what is Paul's stream at 1080? His picture is great. Oh, so
yes. I'm at 4K.
Right. What am I doing? I don't know if I'm today. I did actually change all this. So yeah, technically I'm streaming at 4K, but you've got a good camera coming into it. Whereas I've got this one, my old camera, and it's coming in over USB as well. So technically it'll be 720, but Ecamm's then having to try and scale it up. So yeah, that'll be it. That'll be why on that.
Who's that? Somebody found a ring.
Yeah, that's Michael in the. We got two Michaels. We got Michael Powell in Wrinkle City, US, and then we've also got Michael in the UK as well.
I'll let my secret out. I have a cheat sheet that I have together of people's screen names and their name really is.
Right. That's a good plan because sometimes they slip my mind. It happened actually last week with Jim, so I corrected that this time, Jim. But when I see the name, sometimes it's like my mind goes blank, and then the more I think about it, the further from my mind it seems to go. So yeah.
Faces I remember, names sometimes. I'm old, so things fall out of my brain. I don't have as many active brain cells anymore that I used to have.
Yeah. I'm still terrible as well for like meeting somebody, especially if it's like an event or a function or something like that, and you're meeting lots of people, but then meet someone, ask the name, find out the name, and then within 2 seconds it's gone straight out again. And then it's I've got to find a better way of way of doing it.
Goes in here, and somewhere between here and here it falls out.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. It didn't slip my mind today, Jim. So I hold my hands up. That's what happened last week. I said, hello. Great to see you here. I just completely forgotten last week. So, so what have you got coming up in the week? You got anything planned in terms of your setup or live streaming or anything like that?
No, I'm working on coming up with my live stream. So Doc has kind of been twisting my arm and stuff. So I'm going to do something. Part of it is I'm trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up.
Right. Yeah.
He did kind of throw out a Duncan without borders comment. He says, you can talk about anything. So I've grabbed that.
Yeah. I saw your Facebook header. I thought that was it. It made me laugh, that did. Yeah.
So, but it's going to be soon. And I thought doing something like this too would also get me used to kind of talking. I mean, I'd talked in front of large groups of people before.
Yeah.
And done training and stuff like that. So it doesn't necessarily bother me, but I don't know. There's something about the camera and
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Not real people out there.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the first live stream that I did when I started this, it was really weird, just with 0 subscribers, looking into a lens and just talking and thinking, who am I talking to? It's strange, but then it doesn't take long for, you get 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people, and then it's suddenly that's who you're talking to. And, I'm not, personally, I'm not like aiming for millions or anything like that. It's just a case of I'm just then having a conversation with you or with Michael or with Orbs or whoever it is. And it's, And obviously with you being, we all know you in the community and stuff like that. It wouldn't be long before, you just say, oh, this is when I'm going live and we'd be watching. And then you'd just be talking with us at the end of the day. So
it's been kind of funny because not a lot of people have ever actually seen me. They've seen my little, icon and stuff like that. But like Anna and Fulton's during Leap and Live, they were going, I did one of the pictures and I go, which one's you? Which one's you?
Oh, right. Yeah, funny because
now I'm exposing myself.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I suppose that is funny because we obviously see each other every day, every week in Doc's group and that. So yeah, it is funny. It was funny when they posted, Ecamm posted a picture of June as well, because he's obviously just got a total avatar and covered face. So that was funny when they outed him.
Yes,
in the moderator group,
the man behind the mask.
That's it. Yeah. But I mean, I thought your video in Leader. I know that what happens in Leader stays in Leader, but it was it really made me laugh. Your video.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
I actually thought about posting that on my page.
Yeah.
just because it was, I mean, a lot of people came back and said, that's how I felt. And it's like,
yeah, well, it is. It really captures the thought about it. And so I've obviously been on YouTube for however long it is now, not that long, but the first time I did a live on Facebook was a few years ago. That was just to my sort of Facebook followers or whatever you want to call it there. And I was using Facebook for a business purpose. And so it was the first time I'd done a live. And I remember being like really anxious about it for, it probably took me an hour or something just to press the button. It's really a weird sort of thing conceptually if you step back from it and think about, like you say, you're happy to stand up in front of people and talk or meet new people or things like that. But there's something about it being in front of the camera which can be quite sort of quite daunting. So your video in Leader really sort of captured that sort of that emotion.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It took me forever to I kept going over it in my head and going over it in my head, and then I finally walked over there to do it, and it was kind of like I'm like looking around for people, and when I actually started, people started walking by. I was like, "What the heck?"
Yeah. I definitely post that somewhere because it would. I'm sure it would resonate with a lot of people as well, and they'd certainly find it funny, like I did. So it was a very well thought out little thing.
Anyway, I was just going to pop in and say hi and grace your stream.
Well, you're always welcome. It's lovely that you did. And Orbs is saying do it as well, Paul. So there we go. We got a bit of peer pressure going on now.
I'm going to have to.
Jim's not going to be at LGL stream tomorrow. Yeah, I'm wondering actually, will there be a thing tomorrow? Will there be an office hours tomorrow with Doc being
Doc said that class, if he did it, it was going to be late. I don't think he's going to do office hours just because they're going to be in sessions at that point. So I would be surprised if he did, but he said if he did class, it would be at least an hour late.
Okay, right. That's good to know. So that I don't wake up extra early and then sit there twiddling my thumbs. Yes. Thanks for stopping by, Chris. Yeah, it's I appreciate you staying up, Chris. It's past midnight in the UK, so I appreciate you staying up.
I'm going to go out the back door, so
thank you very much. You take care too. It's lovely to see you, and thanks for stopping by.
Bye.
All right. See you again. Cheers. So Michael is saying for some reason his that's good, Rich. Yeah, well I can if Doc's not available and he's not got his Zoom thing, I can easily just drop a Zoom thing into the into the LGL group or something like that. I can no problem to set up a Zoom meeting if you want to, Rich. An unofficial office hours. Yeah, quite. Michael, I'm not sure what's happening with your link then. If you can't join, it'd be great to have a little chat with you. I know that you've been busy working on some things over the thing. But there we go then. We've got we've sorted it. We'll have a meeting tomorrow. So if Doc is not available, I'll message him and find out. And then if not, then I'll just drop a Zoom link or something into the LGL group. Write myself a little note. Yeah, I've got an account that we can go in indefinitely. So, I say indefinitely. I probably wouldn't try it for a year on non-stop. But yeah, I've got an account that we can set it up on. So that's no problem. It was indeed. It's lovely to speak to you, Paul, because we see each other every week in office hours, but obviously we don't get time to chat. So, yeah, that might be it. Someone chewed the cable, Michael. Yeah, it'd be good to have a chat, Michael. So I know that you've been busy this week getting some things ready for your live stream as well with your scenes and stuff like that. Michael and I have a little bit of a backwards and forwards during the week with sending videos to and from each other. But this week I was a bit slow and wasn't able to respond to some of them just because of my hectic Zoom marathon. Right. So yeah, I'll message Doc and find out, and then I'll drop it in the LGL group. So yeah, that'll be no problem. Yeah, it'd be weird, that will, having a little private group meeting with obviously Rob will be at People of Video as well. You never know, they might still find time to pop in, but yeah, that will be good. How are you getting on, Michael? Have you managed to figure out the link at all? I wonder why that could be. Let me just have a little quick test on my side and see if it's just down everybody or not. I'll just try it in here. I wonder, it's not my, no, I definitely wouldn't have gone over on my time limit. What am I thinking about? I'm going to do this weekly. It seems to be working on mine. I don't know if it's on, don't know if it's on the, something to do with the browser, but it seems to be working on mine on Safari and on Chrome as well. So I'm not sure what is going on there. Yeah, not too sure. We'll have to remember to record the Zoom meeting, by the way, as well, because I know that's it made me laugh at something that was it last week or the week before, and somebody just mentioned it. We just had like an hour-long meeting, and then somebody mentioned it, and then it's not working now. Higher education, edutech, higher edutech. What's your name, by the way, so that I can try and get that right in future? Higher edutech. It was not working. So you were trying to join as well, were you? On the join link. Let me see. I should be more of a professional, really, shouldn't I? And talk while I'm looking as well. Oh, Greg. That's easy to remember. I say that's easy to remember because we've got another Greg. So if everyone could just have the same name in the chat, it would be it would be good. Yeah, I have, Carly. I have literally just started doing that for the past 2 videos. So yeah, it's obviously. Facebook doesn't want you to post or would prefer you not to be posting stuff there where you're basically just posting a link to a YouTube video. So in TubeBuddy Legend, yeah, you can basically, I'll just quickly show you how to do it just in case anybody, I did mention it last stream, but just in case anyone was unaware, which is part of my screen and my sharing. Let me move that down there. So if you are in your YouTube studio and you've got TubeBuddy Legend level, then there's this little drop down here. And basically, you can come down here and then you can go publish to Facebook. And what this does is it brings up this little window and it'll take all of your title and your description and the thumbnail. And then all you have to do is you just have to click on choose file. And then you can select the same video file that you'd uploaded to Facebook, to YouTube. And then go publish to Facebook. And then it basically publishes the video as a native video to Facebook without you having to obviously go into Facebook, but also add in all of this stuff. So I did do that, yeah, with my last couple of videos, and I'm going to start doing that on an ongoing basis. And they did get more views. There's definitely more people have watched it. So obviously, there's people on my page are going to see my Facebook videos, but also it will just be being served to other people as well. So yeah, I'll let you know how that goes, but it should, in theory, create more traffic from being native on Facebook, but I'll let you know how it goes. Earlier it said it was misconfigured, then a moment ago it was working. Oh, that's interesting, Greg. You're in Singapore. Oh, great. That's some some people on this side of the world. Yeah, that's my Zoom meetings all last week were with people in Singapore, actually. So yeah, so there's Greg and Matt is in Vietnam as well, also in the chat. So we've got our little Asian continent contingent in the Ecamm group. There's a few of us actually in Thailand as well. I was quite surprised. Oh, and then I found out that Dee Nimin and Nick Nimin live in Thailand as well. So it turns out you can still be an active part of the YouTube community from over here. I don't know why I ever thought you wouldn't be able to, but it has at times felt like I'm a little bit remote from everything psychologically. Although obviously that's the beauty of the Ecamm group and Doc Rocks group, Office Hours group and stuff like that, is we all just all just one big family, aren't we? Really, wherever we happen to be in the world. So Greg, what are you doing with Ecamm? Are you using Ecamm then for your stuff, and what are you working on? I'm guessing something to do with tech in education. Have I assumed right by the name? Yeah, it's funny, I've done a lot of things with people in Singapore, but I've never actually been to Singapore, even though it's only, I think, 2-hour flight away, something like that. So I was supposed to be going, but then it was around the time that last year COVID hit, and then I didn't end up going, but I've just been working with some people there. So you're not actually... Oh, right. Well, okay, then. I won't hold that against you. OBS has got lots more features in many respects, and I suppose can do a lot more things. The reason why I ended up on Ecamm, interestingly, is because I did start on OBS, but I was doing it on a really old Mac, and it just, OBS I found was struggling with what I was trying to get it to do on my old hardware. So it wasn't OBS's fault, it was my hardware fault. But then I found Ecamm, and I found that it worked really well even on my old Mac, and I've since upgraded my systems and that. But that's how I ended up on Ecamm, and it was just actually at it was when was it now? I forget exactly the month, but I saw Doc Rock on Mac Break Weekly, which is something I've been watching for over a decade now, actually, about 16 years or however long it's been going. And yeah, saw him on there talking about Ecamm, and yeah, that's how I sort of got into it, and I've just fallen in love with it and loved it ever since. You're at Singapore University, right? And a musician on the side, and found that students really I like my audio gear in remote teaching. Yeah, it's a thing, isn't it? Really, everything's just online, and so people who got good audio are already one step ahead. Hey Justin, good to see you here. I teach remotely using Windows and Linux, so OBS works fine. Yeah, I mean it's got all the features, hasn't it? So it's great. We're all burning the midnight oil. Yeah, indeed. So what time is it where you are then, Jim? I'm not sure I'm aware of the Hawaii time zone. I haven't quite got that one in my my sort of my memory. So I'm gonna look on here. I suppose Doc is right, yeah, I'm just thinking, so office hours is normally 4 a.m. So it must be about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that for you there? Yeah, I can't quite get my head around that one at the moment. Yep. There we go. 1:30. I was almost right. Yeah. Hawaii is somewhere I've never been before as well, but I have to make a trip there someday. If not, just to shake Doc's hand and your hand, of course. Singapore's got to be the cleanest place on earth. Yes. 3 hours behind you in California. Yeah, Singapore is supposed to be a very nice city. They were voted to have the highest sort of perceived quality of life. So like where people reported, if they reported like their happiness on all these different scales and all these different levels and things like that, then it was one of it was the top, I believe, at one point. Thailand at one point had the highest level of internet connectivity and people actually online. So not necessarily the fastest, but the highest proportion of the population that were actually on online, and also the highest usage of social media by time, like in a given day. People were spending more time on social media here, but yeah. So for those that don't know, I'm in Thailand. I absolutely love it here. Yeah, half a day. Yeah, you're in the in between worlds. Half a day behind Europe. Yeah, it's stepped on chewing gum, someone spat out on the sidewalk. The first day I was being here, hasn't happened since though. What's your biggest YouTube tip lesson so far? That's a little bit of a tricky one, that is. Did you hear me there? I was just actually tapping my little fingers on the desk thinking about that one. I suppose it depends where people are coming from, really. No problem, Orbs. Great to see you. Great that you could drop by. And I'll drop the message in the chat about the office hours tomorrow. I'll find out from Doc and let you know. Whoops, Daisy, where's that gone? What is my biggest YouTube tip or lesson so far? So again, it really depends on where people are coming from, like as to what I would say. If it's somebody who's saying, like, actually getting started. So my whole thing is this little logo that I've got down here, Recovering Perfectionist. My whole YouTube channel is an exercise in getting over my perfectionism, because previously with stuff that I've done, if it's something for my own use, like my personal stuff, I would tend to sort of tweak things for far too long, and it would be a barrier to me. Perfectionism is great. It can be a real driver for quality, because you're obviously striving for perfection. And so if you fall slightly short of it, then you're still at, whatever percentage you're at. Whereas if you just strive for mediocrity, then that's the best you're going to get, basically, isn't it? So I do think that perfectionism as a tendency has a positive aspect to it. But it's where it becomes a barrier and actually holds you back from doing something because you don't actually ship it, basically, is the problem. So the channel was all about me just getting over that, really, and just starting and getting on with it and being happy with being unhappy about it. So I mentioned before that there was nothing really about my channel that I was entirely happy about. I didn't like my overlays. I didn't like my thumbnails. I still don't like my thumbnails, by the way. But all of it, my website and everything was just, if I was doing it for a client, I wouldn't ship it like that, basically. If I was doing, because I do, it's a bit hard to nail down exactly what I do, to be honest. But in the past, I've had various different roles: architectural design and construction, website design, graphic design, things like that, and all sorts of different sort of creative roles. But I find with client work, somehow it's a lot easier to get something that I'm happy with, and then it's a case of asking them if they're happy with it, and then that's it. Then it's done. Whereas with stuff that's purely for myself, I tend to go over and over things quite a lot, and it can be inhibitive. Is that a word? Well, it is now. So that was the thing about the YouTube channel, was just to sort of get going and start. And so coming back to the thing about what's the biggest tip is talking to me, because one of the things that Anna mentioned earlier as well, when I did my first live stream, so which was 5.5 months ago, 15th of May, it was just, that was the first video I did. I set myself a goal of making 100 videos in my first 100 days on YouTube. And the first one was a live stream to nobody, because I started from zero. I've got like mailing lists of 10,000, 15,000 people from my business side, which actually a lot of those people probably would benefit from what I'm doing, because it's related to similar sort of stuff in a way. And then I've got, Facebook. I could have posted on my personal Facebook. So I think it's about 4,000 friends. I'll be honest, I don't know them all personally. So they're not my closest friends. They're all lovely and close and people I know, but not intimately. And some people are just like connected through connections of connections and stuff like that. So I could have shared it on there as well, but I specifically didn't. And I didn't tell anybody that I was doing this, because it's also an experiment in how you can grow a YouTube channel, because I thought there'd be some benefit in starting from zero, not just bringing in an audience from somewhere else, or even just, letting people know. So that was the sort of thought process of it. So then my first video was my live stream that I did and it was all about, I think it was titled Live Streaming with Older Gear or something like that. Because the other thing that I wanted to get over was you don't need the latest and greatest stuff. So the first live stream I did, I was streaming on a late 2013 MacBook Pro. I am still using my Canon EOS 60D, which is a 10-year-old camera with the kit lens. The lights that I've got are basically just two, like the really low cost soft boxes that you can see on Amazon that they're like, I don't know, $50 or something like that for 2 of them with a stand and whatever. So I was using those, and all of the stuff that I use. The only thing that I actually sort of invested in, if you like, is this the Shure MV7 microphone, because I know that it's important to have good quality audio at least. So that's the only thing that I sort of actually bought for it. I suppose I bought the Stream Deck, but I use that for productivity and stuff like that as well. So it was an exercise in getting over myself, just not having to be perfect from the start. It was also a case of not using the latest gear and feeling like, oh, I've got to have this, I've got to have that. Because a lot of people do feel like they've got to buy the latest camera, the latest lens, they'll watch that. I did watch all of Tom Buck's videos, by the way, and obviously Doc's stuff as well. But Tom Buck, I really love his stuff, and he'll tell you how to set up a studio. He also does obviously tell you the point of you don't need to have the latest and greatest. But I think some people do watch people like him, and they see his studio, and they see all the gear that he's got, and they might think, oh, I need that to start. So I was very conscious about the fact that I don't need that to start. And then obviously with my studio, which is just my green screen, it's actually very easy. Even the green screen, so I've got that lit from the bottom. It's just it is material, but just pulled tight over a PVC plumber's pipe frame that I made, and then it's just material like stretched over it. But then I've got a light from the bottom that's uplighting it, so it's got a really even color to it. So it's stretched tight with an even color, so it makes keying it out a lot easier. So that's a bit of a long answer, really, isn't it? But so what's my biggest YouTube tip and lesson so far is just get over yourself and start, and don't worry about what people, about who your viewers are going to be as well. Because that was something that when I did my first live stream, it was the live stream to nobody. And then I didn't really know who was going to be listening or watching. But then slowly, a few people started watching, and then I was making a connection with people. And as soon as you've got 1 or 2 people, then that's who you talk to. So another tip or lesson is, if you are somebody who's maybe feel a little bit sort of camera shy when you're talking into the camera, it's a bit weird, to be honest, isn't it? I'm here in my little basement talking into the camera. But another one would be just to have somebody in mind that you're talking to. Now, initially you might not have an audience, but just my content is really sort of tutorials, isn't it? So it's quite easy for me to imagine that I'm telling somebody how to do it. And I've been the sort of tech guy for a lot of people over the years, of people asking me how to do this or that. So it's easy for me to just actually imagine somebody that I'm speaking to. But now what happens is, when I'm making my videos, they've often come about because somebody's asked me the question either in comments or messaged me or something like that. And so I literally have usually somebody in mind that I'm doing this for. And in fact, that was the case. He's dropped out now, but Chris in the UK, who's gone to bed because it's after bedtime in the UK, he mentioned about he's setting up a channel and things like that, and wanted and was looking at using the Ecamm Live beta, the new features that are in it, to do his overlays and stuff like that, and where you don't need to have graphical overlays like we used to have in the olden days with the beta. And so when I was making that template that I did for the layout for this one, I'm mincing my words a little bit here. Hang on, this thing that I created. Let me just toggle my camera off. So I made this background image of the layout to make it easy to lay out for camera layouts and scene layouts and things like that. So I specifically thought about him when I was making it, so you do find that, or I find that when I'm making these videos now, there's usually somebody that I have in mind. So that would be another tip, is if you are a little bit camera shy, have somebody specific in mind that you're talking to, and then you don't feel like I'm just on stage talking to hundreds of people, thousands of people, millions, or whoever, whatever you view it. So that would be my point. I really need to distill this down into something shorter than a 10-minute ramble about it. But there's loads of little tips and lessons. So I could, it all depends on the different aspect of it. Another thing would be always look to try stuff, like new stuff, like I'm trying out my shorts and things like that at the moment, but also don't be afraid to abandon it as well. So I was posting 3 a day, and then suddenly I thought that was too many. So just sort of pivoting on that as well. Another one would be about the numbers. Don't get worried about the numbers, but just be interested in them without being obsessed with them. So I don't really, I do see sometimes that, occasionally I'll lose subscribers and then they'll come back, or, things like that. So just not getting bothered about that. I suppose another thing is just sort of sticking at it and be consistent. And the reality of it is that if you are consistently posting on YouTube and are posting stuff that people find interesting, useful, or entertaining, it's unlikely that your subscribers over time are going to go down. It is a sort of thing of it compounds. You've got to basically do something. If somebody's been and clicked the subscribe button, then you've got to do something that's either offensive or annoying for people to say, oh, I'm not interested anymore, and switch it off. Obviously, sometimes people are interested in a topic and then they become disinterested in it and maybe want to clear out their subscriptions and things like that. But generally, it's just one of those stick at it, because it will take some time. In fact, if I just come back to my stats, you can see exactly, I don't know if you were on earlier when I shared this, but you can see exactly the process. Or come into my analytics. Whoops, not that one, this one. And then if I go over my lifetime of my channel, you can see sometimes things just seem like it's just going at the same pace, and you think, well, if I'm aiming for a particular target, how long is it going to take me to get there at this rate? That might be somebody's thought process. For me, I was never thinking like that. It was, in fact, I've just noticed Jim's comment. I'll come back to that in a moment. In fact, I'll come to it now. So was I in AVIT before starting your channel? So, Michael's joining. I wasn't as such, but I was creating course content using Ecamm Live. And so part of the reason for me to start the channel was I wanted to get into the practice of being able to create these videos sort of live in one take. And so that was hence the name Take One Tech, because when I was making videos before, I would find that I would spend far too much time editing, and it would just become a chore. So I specifically started the channel as to get over my perfectionism, but also as an exercise in basically becoming better at making like one take videos essentially. So but just quickly before I just bring Michael in, you can see here that my stats have been they were relatively flat and not increasing too much over the first few months. But then there's been this sort of jump up and this little spike in them. So whoopsie daisy, hello. My little boy's just woken up. This is Dale. So he's it's another little tip would be just to stick with it. You can go see your mummy. No, you want to stay on YouTube with Daddy. Yeah. Here you go. Here's mummy. There we go. Sorry about that. You're right, my little boy. So yeah, that would be it. That would be something, is just to sort of stick at it basically, because there will be a change. So if you feel like things are progressing slowly, which somebody might think, then yeah, just stick at it basically. I will add little the boss. Yeah. Now, is that Dale or is that my wife who also walked in, or is it both? Let me just get. Now I've got to change this. I don't know why I can't change that scene. Hang on a minute. Let me just toggle this one off. Come to here and I'll change this one. This is what I should have done when Paul was on. Whoops, wrong guest. There we go. Michael. Hello, Michael. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Hello. That's okay. I was having a terrible time trying to connect. I kept getting a strange page whenever I would hit the link.
Oh, and, right. That's strange.
All of a sudden it started working. However, I did record what was happening. So I'll send you that video right, just so you can see it. And maybe between us, we could figure out what was the problem. But I couldn't get in. And I don't want to keep you long because I know the little one is up, and
that's right.
But I did want to stop in, and since Paul is still online, I want him to know. I think his video and the sound was fantastic tonight.
Yeah, it was
so much better than it has been in office hours.
Uh-huh.
In office hours, he was a little bit hollow, his sounding.
Yeah.
And but this video was great. And if he's coming in at 4K, I have the Z or Z EV10.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for a pole to set it up so that I can use it.
Yeah.
But I couldn't believe how much it was 200% better than what I've seen him before.
Yeah.
It was just fantastic. So if you're there, Paul, I think it's great.
And he's got the SM7B now as well, so that's it. That always helps.
Oh yeah,
with the audio, doesn't it? Yeah.
Now, the question I have is, when you and Paul were talking, what was it he was having trouble with that he needed an adapter ring?
Yeah, so the teleprompter, the DesView T3 teleprompter that I use, it basically, the way it mounts to the camera is it slips over the top of the ring. There's like a ring that screws onto the filter ring that you get for cameras that you can screw things into. So yes. It basically, the teleprompter comes with a series of rings that you screw into the filter screw on the front of the camera, and then the teleprompter sort of slides over the top of it. So there's a selection of rings that come in with the teleprompter to fit lots of different lens sizes, but there wasn't one to fit his specific size. So if there's
I'm sorry, he's right, it is a 40.5. I looked at mine,
right.
But that reverted to 49 millimeters, and someone put on the chat that 49 millimeters were available.
Right. I can't remember exactly, but yeah. So it would be like an upside, a thing to change the size. So you'd screw it into that, and then you'd be able to screw the teleprompter ring into that one. Then, so it's like an adapter basically.
Okay. Good.
But that's something that I'm going to run into, because that would be my next camera ultimately when I upgrade this one, would be that. So it's good to know.
Oh yeah, because you don't have any other lenses for the Sony. Because now if I used one of the other lenses that I have, I would probably work without because this one is a 45 millimeter.
Right.
So okay.
Yeah. Paul said he's just ordered the 40.5 to 49 or 50. Oh, to 50.
Well, wait a minute. I've got a question. If 40.5 converts to 49 millimeters, then how can this one be 45 millimeters, which is smaller?
I suppose you could get any size really, because it would have a size that screws in, and then you could have it expand into another size basically.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Got it.
I really like one thing. I was just going to say about the teleprompter. I really like the way that it works. So you just have a ring that screws on the front of your camera, but then the whole thing just slots on it. So one of the things that I liked about this over the like a lot of people use the Glide Gear teleprompter, but that one, the whole camera has to be mounted into it, and it's a bit more of a job to get it on and off, whereas this is just sort of easy to slip on and off. That said, it stays here all the time, so it's not really an issue.
And with the monitor that you have in it, and I watched your video on how you jury rig that, but with the we call it a jury rig. I don't know what you call it.
Totally.
With the monitor you use, you could actually be playing this video, that your stream in there, so that you stare straight at the screen and see who's talking.
That's exactly what I do. Yeah. So you're now in my teleprompter. So I'm looking at the camera, but I'm looking at you.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
That's what I need to do. Yeah. And I'll have to rewatch your video on how to jury rig it.
Well, the way that I did it was a bit extreme, and you won't necessarily need to do that. The part of the reason why, because I took a hacksaw to mine to fit everything together. But the reason was because I have my camera directly above my monitor, and so I wanted to make sure that it wasn't sort of because obviously the teleprompter is like this, and then you have the screen that's reflecting up on it below it. So I didn't want it sort of coming down too far over covering my monitor. So it's really because of the position that I've got it that I ended up cutting some off the bottom, just to give me that extra centimeter or so. But you don't really need to do that. You can just screw it straight in. So
Oh, okay. So you could use the monitor that you bought
Yeah.
with the teleprompter the way it comes,
Yeah,
because see, I have two monitors separated,
yeah,
and the pole is going to be in the middle, so it's not going to be bothering the monitors at all.
yeah. You'd be fine. There's no, you won't need to cut anything or glue anything or anything
Good,
like that.
good,
Yeah.
good. And Paul, let me know how that thing you ordered works, so that before I order one.
The other thing about the teleprompter is it's because I don't use it for teleprompting. Obviously, I'm not. I don't do anything scripted, but it's also just for Zoom meetings as well. So that's like my primary reason for it. Really was just to be able to, when I'm on Zoom calls with people, you obviously have their image in that, and then you're just talking to them, because it's we've just got used to people, like when you're on a call with them, they're looking down here and they're not actually looking at you anymore, because they're looking at your picture on the screen rather than the camera. So it just makes a difference being able to talk to people.
Well, I have a software teleprompter now, but of course it's shows on the screen, so I have to look at the screen to read it. And right. I don't read it to script it, but I have a lot of bullet points up there so that I try not to forget what I'm going to say. Uh-huh. And so that's why I think it would work well for me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's good for that as well.
Yeah. And any rate, I know it's probably getting late for you, but I did want to, since I got it working, I did want to drop in and say hi, and let Paul know that I just was amazed at the quality of difference.
It was really good.
And anytime he wants to stream, I'll come in and watch you, Paul.
Yeah, well, I'll be there as well, obviously.
Yeah, well, there'll be three of us.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, Doc did say last week that he was going to have office hours this week.
Uh-huh. Oh, did he?
But I mean, you could still message him and make fine.
I'll definitely check that. You can set up the T3 for both scripting and Zoom meetings, but it's a bit of extra effort. So I mean, when I use Zoom with this, I have I use the dual monitor setup. So I'm often, sometimes I'm one-to-one. So if I'm one-to-one on a Zoom meeting, then I'll just have obviously the one screen up there. But then if I'm doing something in a meeting with lots of people, then I'll have it on dual monitor setup on Zoom, but then have a gallery view, and then I'll have the speaker window up on the teleprompter. But then if you have it full screen on the monitor, then obviously it's full screen. But for doing scripting and things like that, if you did want to have like stuff on the, say you wanted bullet points for a meeting or something like that, then you could just have the speaker view over to one side of the monitor, the teleprompter monitor, and then some notes down the other side. There's also some apps that you can do where, like, if you literally wanted to read a script, that they appear over the top. So there's one actually, I think it's just called Teleprompter, but that one, you can have it appear as a sort of semi-transparent window over the top of anything else. So you could still have a Zoom window and then an actual script. If you were doing something scripted into a meeting or a webinar or something like that, you can do it like that. So I've done a few webinars before, but I tend to just not do those sorts of things scripted anyway. But it gets a little bit tiny. Yeah, it can do. So I'm using the T3 and the Lilliput A7 monitor, which is a 7-inch monitor. I do wonder if the 8-inch monitor you could actually fit in here as well, because it doesn't totally fill the whole of the teleprompter screen area with the 7-inch, but it could be an option. But yeah, it is a little bit small. If you certainly if you were doing like Zoom with gallery view or things like that, it can be a little bit on the small side.
And just as a side note, I have tried everything I can think of. I cannot get Pro Mouse to work.
Well, join the club, because it seems that there's lots of other people as well. So,
and I tried the other two that you mentioned, Mouse Pose and one other, and neither one of them work either.
Right. That's interesting. So what is the issue that you have with those two? I haven't used those for a while, but what's the issue you have with those?
Well, I forget the first one. What was it called? Not Mouse Pose, because I already owned that.
Right.
The other one I got off of was like $7.99. I forget what it was called, but it would. First of all, it was very clumsy to try and use. In order to like zoom a picture in, you had to hit three keys, like Shift, Option, Command, or something like that, and a letter. Now I realized I could make a key. I could make a key for that, but in trying to do that with just to see how it worked, I couldn't get it to do it. It blew. It would zoom on my screen, but not on the screen I wanted it to. Like I usually put what I'm sharing over on the second monitor.
Yep.
And it just won't do it.
Uh-huh.
But yours seems to work fine.
It's kind of frustrating for me because I recommended it, and then I've made 3 videos about Pro Mouse first. I made my first one where I said, "Oh, you've got to get this; it's brilliant." Then you bought it, and Doc got it, and Doc curses me almost every time he uses it.
Yeah.
But then I thought I'd figured out why that might be, because I'm constantly trying to figure out what is it that is different for other people that they're having difficulty with it. So I made my second video, which was, if you're having problems with Pro Mouse, this will sort it, because I thought I'd cracked it, and then obviously that didn't work. So then it helped a few people, but it didn't solve the problem. And then I made a third video about another potential fix for it. So I can't nail down what it is that is not working, because I'm not having the same sort of issues. Chris as well, who's not in the chat now, but he was earlier, he's had issues with it as well. The same thing. He can't get it to function the way that it should, or the way that I make it look like it can do.
But the funny thing is, now Doc and you and I are all using the same computer, the M1 Mac Mini.
Yeah.
So if it's working on yours, why isn't it working on it?
That's the frustrating thing. I don't know. I did wonder if it was an M1 thing, but then since I've had it, it's been working. The other issue that I know some people have is there's something to do with when they're using the Logitech keyboard, MX keys. There's something about you can't use the function key. Now with Pro Mouse, the thing that is a bit weird to me, or seems a bit strange to me, is you can't use any sort of combination of hotkeys. So you might think you want to have like Control M, say, for mouse. I don't know, whatever you want to put for it. But you can't actually use that. The actual activation keys are either the function key, the control, the option, or the command key. So those are the sort of like activation keys. So so you've got the Logitech. I wonder if that's yeah. Thank you, Greg. I've just passed.
Oh, you just got a coffee.
That's very nice of you. And this one's on you then. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
I got to reset my camera. There we go. I use a PTZ camera, so when I put my hand up, like we do in office hours,
it adjusts the picture.
It turns the camera from staying in one position to following me to whatever I do.
Right.
And it could, like, putting that keyboard up caused it to switch over.
Yeah.
But at any rate,
Paul says
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Paul says he's using Cursor Pro. Is that the one that you were using as well?
That's the one I tried, and it doesn't work. And I assume it's working for you, Paul, or I don't know.
So Paul says his problem with Pro Mouse is when I try to use Ecamm, it doesn't always cooperate. There's one little thing with Ecamm. If you are doing screen sharing and you're screen sharing an application window as opposed to the whole desktop, by definition, it is only showing one application to the exclusion of all others. I've just realized I've just moved my overlays over the way. Have I done that, or have I just zoomed it? Hang on a second. So because it's basically doing it to the exclusion of all other apps, and Pro Mouse is an app, then that's why it doesn't get shown as a why you don't see it. So if you're sharing a specific app and app window, then it doesn't show up with Pro Mouse. So that is the beauty of the cropping feature that we've now got with the Ecamm Live Beta, because I just share the whole screen and then crop in, and so in that way that you can actually see the Pro Mouse showing up as well.
Yeah, now that brings up another question. I mentioned, I think, in one of the 2 videos I recently sent you.
Yeah.
With the scenes we set up, like with your new template, which by the way was a godsend.
Oh, thank you. Glad you like it.
And but the 2 like the screens we're in now, if one of them was a screen share, and I've got the border around it, when I try to crop it crops in the border and makes the whole thing smaller.
Yeah.
So
I'll show you how I do that. It's I'll give you an example right now. So if I come into I'll add a screen sharing overlay. Whoops, I need to let me just toggle this live stream thing off. There we go. So now I've got an overlay. Now let's say I want to crop into this little border just at the. So I want to crop into this part here, this chat window. So I'd grab the. I'll do this just not in demo mode because it might you'll still get the impression of it, but it will just be easier to see. So I'm going to hold down Option on the corner and crop in this way, and then I'll hold down Option on this corner and crop in this way, and then crop in like this. So this is obviously appearing very, very small at the moment, but I'll blow it up, and now I'm not holding Option down, but I'm just going to drag the corner, and I drag it until it is the same size here. And then I'll move it over to this side and I'll click on the other corner. So I'm just clicking the corner now and I'll drag it like that. Now, obviously, the issue that you've then got is that it is now the right height, but it is too, it's not obviously not fitting in there. And in fact, let me just try and actually, I'll just crop in exactly on that window now that I've got it a bit bigger. So I'm going to move the sides in and now I'll hold this top corner and drag it out. So at this point, I've got it exactly the right width and I basically expand it until the smallest dimension is being filled, so either the width or the height. So in this case, I've got the height filled. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag the corner and basically I'm moving the crop again. So it's basically uncropping that part of the window, but there's no way around that because that's just the size that the window is. So then what I might do is I'll then come over into this and then I would perhaps drag the corner of this. If I can resize that window, then I'll resize this to get it to exactly the right size. So it's kind of like it's cropping on the whole thing first of all, then expand it out until it fits either the width or the height, and then just drag it to one side or the other just to fill, in that opposite dimension. So that's how I would do that. And then obviously can't be here without adjusting the corners. So
yeah. Okay, now it makes sense. Because like I told you in one of the videos, I can make a square in or even a rounded thing in Photoshop or whatever, but I can't put one side square and the other side round and like we can.
The other thing just to I should just mention quickly as well is if I bring that overlay back up. So there's also let me come into demo mode a minute. So with the actual overlay, oops, got to hide this one. Too many things over the screen. There we go. The other thing is this might be set to like the shape. Sometimes that can be off. If you're cropping, it shouldn't actually make a difference. But where it says the shape, sometimes if you change that one to custom as well, then sometimes it keeps the aspect ratio, but if you change it to custom, then basically you can change that to be whatever size you want. Whereas if you have it as 16 by 9, then although we've now technically cropped in on it, it will try and sort of maintain that aspect ratio. So when you're dragging the corner, it will adjust both sides proportionally. So I'm just dragging it, even if I dragged side to side, it still drags proportionally. Whereas if you come in and change that to custom, then it allows you to drag. If I drag the corner now, I can drag to the side or I can drag up. So it's actually easier to sort of get the initial position right with it like as the custom. But the problem that has then is that as you're changing the size, you can see how it's sort of moving the window around a little bit, the cropping area. So it's a bit finicky, really, to be honest, still with the cropping and resizing and stuff like that.
Which means if they had just a feature in there that would let us draw boxes or circles like they do with so many other things, then I could draw a plain box and then put this thing in.
That is a good point, actually. Yeah, just actually highlight a specific area of the screen.
Yeah, but I mean, if Ecamm had the ability to put, like Keynote does, drop down a rounded box or a square or a circle, and then be able to fill and put a ring around it, and then put your screen share in the middle of that, then you'd be fine.
Yeah, got you. Yeah, and if you're able to like actually pan, so let's say I've got my position fixed on that one. I'll just bring that up again. So where I've got that screen sharing, if I could actually just somehow hold a button down and actually pan inside that as well. So I can obviously do it by moving the actual window around, but let's say I wanted to move to a different part of the screen, then if I could hold down a button and actually just grab in the middle of the window and move it to the left or right as well, but still keep the outline exactly the same, that would be useful as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making a note of all these. They will get submitted as a feature request.
It's like drawing tools, like you do in Keynote. Add a what do they call it? Add a box, a circle. And that would make it easier, and it would actually be helpful in a lot of different areas.
Yes,
I think.
Yeah. I mean, having predefined templates as well, to be honest, could be another good one, like where you've got like a bit like when you're in slides in PowerPoint or a Keynote, and where you can just have a drop down and it puts up like a title scene, a title slide, or one with 2 boxes of text or bullet points or things like that. There could almost be like a little drop down for like you want to create a new scene, and it's just got something like this, a 2 up or something like that. That could be another option. Hey, Alicio, good to see you here.
Hey, Alicio.
An inspiration.
I watch a lot of his. Got a lot of energy, that young man does.
He certainly has. Yeah. I've commented on this before, but I always love Alicio's overlays and designs and things like that. So I can't quite carry them off the way he does, though. So. By the way, Alicio, I watched your video the other day about the microphones with your ZV-E10 and the Rode Wireless Goes and the another Rode. So I've got the Rode Video mic, the original one actually. But it was a great video that was, and to see how well those Rode Wireless Goes work, I mean, it's just it sort of sold them to me, really. When I get a new camera, and if I start doing stuff outside, like particularly like stuff with the kids and stuff like that, not so much the normal content creation, but it's they just seem so good, those Rode Wireless Goes, and obviously a big difference from the the further back that you get from the camera, obviously you just totally lose the sound quality, but those Rode Wireless Goes were amazing. Great video. That was great comparison. Cool. So how about you, Michael? What have you got your date planned for your live stream yet?
No, I've just
sorting your scenes out last week, but
and then I thought I was going to have them all done, and then you came out with the new template, and it looked so much better. I had to redo them all, but it did. You're right. It does not take as long with the new template. It does not take as long. All I had to do was drop in the template and readjust the frames. But I'm getting there. I'm no longer going to say it's going to be such and such a date. I certainly will let you know, and it will be soon.
I'll be there whenever it is.
I'll be there soon. And I was going to try. I knew I couldn't go to People of Live because I had doctor's appointments and whatnot. But I was going to try and go up just for the day they meet at B&H. But now, now I can't do that either. And I didn't mind. I was going to fly up for the day and then fly back that night. But and I even thought of going out to the airport and renting a plane and flying myself up.
Oh, well, of course, you could do that. Yeah.
Well, except that it was cheaper to fly commercial than it was to rent a plane here. And trying to get in and out of JFK in a small private plane can be a problem.
A little bit busy traffic, I would imagine, around there.
just a tad, yeah. I remember when I was in the Marines and I lived in North Carolina. We wanted to fly up to Washington, D.C. for the day just to go to Arlington and all of the different sites there. And I'll tell you what, I was in the traffic pattern at D.C. I guess it was Reagan, they call it now or whatever. But I was in the traffic pattern for God knows how long, trying to get in there. Because they were letting the big planes in, and then when they finally let me in, they'd come on the radio. They'd say, take your first left or first right off with whichever runway I was on, because you're being followed by a 747.
Yeah, they want to get you out of the way for the big boys to come through.
Because the big boys are coming and they're not stopping. They're not going around.
Yeah.
At any rate, it was so I decided against trying to go into Kennedy.
Right.
With a small plane.
Yeah.
Any rate. So I don't get to go up and meet. I wanted so much to meet Doc and some of the other people in person, but especially Doc. I wanted to shake his hand and get my picture taken with him, but
that's the same as me. I'd love to go and shake his hand. I mean, I've got so much knowledge from him, first of all, but all of the the community and the role that he plays in the Ecamm Live community as community manager, but then in our group, with office hours and stuff like that, is just phenomenal. It's such a he's the
I may have to fly to Hawaii to see him, but I really want to meet him. I really do want to meet him.
Yeah.
Although he did say that he was going somewhere else after he gets back from People of Live, and I thought it was in California, but I'm not positive. But if it's in California, that's an easier flight for me.
Right. Real Northwest Arkansas says like trying to fly into Oshkosh. I always watch the YouTube coverage of the Oshkosh event. It's never been. I'm not a pilot. I'm an aspiring pilot, but it always fascinates me. So I always watch the coverage of the Oshkosh event. Have you ever been to that, Michael?
Never heard of it.
It's a big like a big fly-in, and they have all sorts of just all sorts of aircraft there. So if you just search YouTube for Oshkosh, there's no end of videos all about the it's like an air show, but then like a fly-in. So there's lots of private pilots fly in to go and see the things, and there'll be all sorts. I like watching things about kit planes. I'd love to build my own plane at some point in the future, basically. I love watching all the stuff about the kit planes.
I thought about it when I was younger, and I got to thinking, you know what? I've done a lot of dumb things in my life. And some have turned out well. Some have turned out well, and some have turned out, not so well. To the point where I figured that, as I've said before, that my final words were going to be like, "Well, shit, that didn't work." So I decided I'm not going to build my own plane.
Right, I kind of feel you on that one as well. Yeah, I can see me flying along and then just thinking, did I screw that last final screw in or not? I'm not sure.
and what if this doesn't work when I get up there? Take a parachute. Any rate, no, I'm not building my own plane.
Paul says he's going to Southern California. Sorry.
Good.
California, so.
Good, because California is a lot. I can get to California better than I can get to Hawaii.
Just quickly, what's your Real Northwest Arkansas? What's your name, by the way, just so that I can? I always like to be able to call people by their name rather than their YouTube handle. But great to see you here. Always happy to welcome new people to the stream. So I'm hoping to get back to my my usual schedule this week. This last week has been a bit of a write-off with my Zoomathon, but I'll be getting back to creating some more videos over the next week. I'm going to do a bit of a catch-up this weekend as well. I've got a few hours to spare this weekend that I'm going to squeeze some into as well.
Yeah, I know you're busy. I hope I don't bother you by sending the videos.
Oh, not at all, not at all.
Michael, where? I'm in Florida.
Oh,
I'm in Florida,
and that's
Rich.
Dale.
Rich just popped up in the question.
Yeah, and Real Northwest. That's Dale. Okay.
Okay.
There you go. Well, that's easy to remember because that's my son's name as well. So you've got great taste in names.
Yeah.
Righty-ho.
Any rate, as I said, I'm glad I finally got in. I have no idea what was going wrong, but it was sending me to a completely strange page. But like I said, I recorded it while I was doing it so that I could put the video. I'll send the video to you on one of my videos, and I'll show you where it is taking me. And I had it right. I mean, I'm using the same link that I always have, takeonetech.io/join, but for some reason it was taking me to a strange page. Yeah. And I guess somebody else in the chat said they also had problem, and then it finally...
It must have been a routing error or something with because it obviously all goes through. I'm not sure how Ecamm have got their servers set up for that, but anyway, it must have just been a minor technical glitch.
Yeah. So at any rate, it's what time is it? Oh God, it's 7 o'clock at your time.
It is 7:15 in the morning, so it's time for me to drop off. Oh, hello, Dean. Sorry, I've just noticed Dean popped into the chat. Great to see you. Great to see you here. Dean's been there since the beginning of my channel as well. He's another one that's been there, just constantly giving me words of encouragement and things like that. So I really appreciate you, Dean, and great to see you here. How come Michael's window isn't filling the frame? So that's because Michael's got his border on in Ecamm, and so what I should probably do is, it's all right. What I can do is
hold on, I can take the border off.
I can do it like this as well. I can zoom you. There we go.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I can zoom you in and out. That's what I should have done. Thank you for pointing that out, Rich, because I should. I noticed that, but I should have just remembered that I could just do it in Zoom myself with the Zoom thing. Paul says it was him blocking everyone else from joining. He came in and locked the door so that no one else could get in.
I wanted to drop in to say hi to him, but I could not get in. Anyway,
okie dokie.
So have a great weekend.
Well, thank you, Michael, for stopping by, and everyone else so as well.
Thank you so much for all you've done.
Yeah, you're welcome, and great to see you, Paul, as well, and have a nice chat. Paul says next time you'll have to both be on at the same time.
Yes. I'll look forward to it. Again, Paul, fantastic video and fantastic sound. I really was amazed. Really amazed.
It does mean you're totally ready now to start live streaming.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll start.
No excuses.
Yeah, we'll start applying the peer pressure. We'll start ramping up the peer pressure.
Okay. All right. And remind Paul, he can always go into just the group.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to stream to YouTube yet. Go into the group and do a test stream and or play. And I guess it's Rich that goes in there every day to test his scenes.
Yeah, every week. Yeah, Rich goes in there to test his scenes and
so
something. Yeah, it's great.
They don't mind, and it gives us a chance to see you. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway, you need to go, and I need to go.
Great. Well, thanks again for stopping by, Michael. Always a pleasure.
You're quite welcome, and Paul, you're welcome. Thank you.
Right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for stopping by. It was great to see you all. I've got a comment sticking up there on the screen. I can't get that off now. I've got to turn this overlay. That'll help. That's a bit better. There you go. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by. I hope that there was something of value in there, in amongst all of my waffling. And thanks a lot, Greg, as well, for the coffee. I do really appreciate it. This one is definitely on you. So thanks again. And yeah, until the next time, my Stream Deck. This is typical, isn't it? Just when you want to find a button, the Stream Deck's defaulted to my home screen. So I'll get it here somewhere. Right. Well, thanks everyone again for watching, and I'll catch you all on another live stream soon. And I'll get back to you, Rich, about the office hours tomorrow. I'll check with Doc, see if we're having it or not, and what's going on about that. But I'll drop it into the LGL group. But for now, I'll go to my end screen and say thanks again for watching, and I'll leave a link to some of my other of my videos for people who are watching on the replay. Have a great day, everyone. Bye bye.